this activity, we'll be looking at the basics of perspective. We'll be focusing mainly on 1-point and 2-point perspective. Here I'll be showing you how to draw some cubes using the perspective techniques, and then from those cubes we'll be moving on to more complex drawings. Now for this activity we'll be needing our ruler. So we're going to be needing a ruler, we'll be needing a pencil, so we can have one bright one and a much paler one for construction line, and we'll be using our erasers. Now when doing 1-point perspective, the first thing that we need to do is to draw our horizon line. After we've drawn our horizon line, the next step is to identify our vanishing points. So for this we have one vanishing point, so I've chosen to put my vanishing point a bit off center. It doesn't matter where on the line you put yours, you can put yours in the dead center or you can put it at any other corners, but this time the one I've chosen is going to be a bit off center here. And once you've drawn your horizon line, the next step, we're drawing some cubes, so the next step is to draw the first face of the cube, the first section of the cube. So the location on the paper where you draw this cube is solely up to you. You don't necessarily have to draw it at any specific point. You can draw it anywhere. I've chosen to draw mine a bit below the vanishing point. An easy way to get parallel lines is to just line up the first line, set your ruler on the first line that you drew, and slide your ruler gently till you get to the location where you want to draw the next line, and then draw. You can also get it by measuring, but this is much quicker. Right. Now I have drawn the first face of my cube. Right? The next step, in order to get the other side of the cube or the other sides of the cube, the next step is to connect the points, the visible points or all the points, to the vanishing point. This is the point I'm going to be connecting all the lines, all the points of the square to the vanishing point. So got the first one. Second point, and the last two. If you notice, I use construction lines because I don't want them to be too bright that I can't erase them when I'm finished, right? So I just use pale construction lines to do these convergent lines, right? Now once I've done that, the next step is to identify the sides of the box that will be showing, right? In this drawing that I have here, since I did it directly below the vanishing point, as a viewer, the person who's looking will only be able to see the top section of the box right here. They won't be able to see any of the sides of the cube, just the top section. So that is the part that we're going to be drawing in. To do this, what we're going to be doing is, firstly, we're going to line up our ruler, set our ruler on the line, the horizontal line that was drawn initially. Then we're going to gently slide the ruler upwards until we've reached a reasonable distance, and then we will draw our line. Okay. Now once we've done that, then we can go ahead and actually make these lines brighter to make the cube more pronounced. That's what I'll be doing here. Right. So once you've gotten your cube, it's okay for you to erase any lines that are unnecessary. So these lines that we drew here, and this is why we drew them faint in the first place, because we knew we were going to erase them. So we can erase out these lines. Right, and we can also erase the convergence lines that we use to create the perspective effect when drawing the cube. Right, so these aren't necessary anymore, so we can erase them. And there you have your cube. That's your first cube. Now we can draw as many of these cubes as we want on the paper. However, we're going to be doing 10 of them for this activity. Right? Now, where you start your cube will determine how many sides of the cube that you will see. Right? In this one, you're only able to see the front and the top of the cube. However, if we are to do another one, say we're going to put it with a part of it below the horizon line and another part above the horizon line, like this. Alright, let me do another one first that's below the horizon line, then I'll go back to that one. So we're going to do another one that is not directly under the vanishing point, it's off to the left. Right, so we have our vertical line there, and we're going to put another vertical line on the other side. So we have our two vertical lines, and now we're going to put our two horizontal lines. Alright, so we've created our rectangle that we're going to be turning into a cuboid or cube. Next step, find the points. And once you've been doing this long enough, you'll be able to identify which sides are going to be showing and which are not going to be showing, and thus making it easier for you, and you won't really need to draw all the lines or all the points to the vanishing point. So right now I'm just going to be drawing these 3 points, since I know only parts that are going to be visible are the top and the side over here. So I'm only going to be drawing these 3 points to the vanishing point. That's 2, final one here, that's 3. Alright, now we're gonna get the same process. We set our ruler along the line that we drew first, and we're just gonna slide it over to get a parallel line here. So we draw one parallel line there, and then we set it on the horizontal line that we have up top, and we slide it across to get another line parallel to the horizontal line, and there we have our other cuboid drawn in perspective. Now if you notice with this one, you're seeing 3 sides. You're seeing all 3 sides of the, well, not all, but you're seeing 3 sides of the cuboid, right? So again, once you're finished, you can always use some time and make your cube more pronounced. And you can also erase the lines that are unnecessary, which in this case are these convergence lines right here. I'm going to erase them. So we've gotten 2 so far. Now back to the one I was talking about earlier. Say we have one with a part that is above the part of the cube being above the horizon line and another part being below the horizon line. You can draw that just the same. So we draw our rectangle or our square with sections of it above and sections below the horizon line, right? Now, based on the horizon line, it is obvious that the viewer would not be able to see what is on top of this cube. They would only be able to see this front face here and the side. Right, so that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be putting in the lines. So we're going to put it in these lines here. 1, these lines will be able to give us a parallel line once we line it up with our original line, and then we can draw brightening up these lines so we can see the cube being more pronounced. Once we've done that, once again we can erase. Alright, so we've done 3 of these cubes. I'm going to show you one more example before we speed through doing all 10 of them. So we have one more example that we're going to be putting up top. This time I'm going to choose to draw it over here, and I'm putting it above the horizon line this time. So that's one side, 2, put in 3, 4. So that's our rectangle, our starting rectangle. Alright, so now we're going to connect the points to our vanishing point. Use these convergence lines. We have 1, 2, and 3. Right. Now this time we're seeing the front face, we're seeing the right side, and we're seeing the underside of the cube. Right, so we're gonna draw our lines. I'm gonna make this box, this cube a bit longer, or this cuboid a bit longer than the others. So we have one there, and the other one we're gonna have right here. Alright, so we're going to be putting 10 of these cubes on the paper. Alright, so we're going to be doing 10 cubes on this paper. So far we've gotten 4, we have 6 more to do. I'm going to choose these locations randomly. So I'm going to put one here. Alright, so there we have it. We have our 10 cubes. Yeah, so there we have our 10 cubes existing on this space right here. Right, all 10 existing in their own space. Now, what if I was to go a bit more detailed with one of these? What if I wanted to put a hole in one of these boxes, like an opening in one of these boxes or these cubes? I could do that by following the same principle. All I need to do is decide where the hole is going to be. So I'm going to put the hole on the face of this one here. Alright, so we have a hole there. Or rather a line that indicates where the hole is going to be. One there. One here. One there. Now, as it is, this is just another square on top of the cube that we already have there. But if we were to connect some points to the vanishing point, for example, if we were to use this line here, right? So this one wouldn't be necessary because it's at the same spot as that. But if we were to use this line here and then we were to line up the left hand side, make sure we bring it over to this point right here. So if we did that, and the bottom we tip it up, then you would see the effect of a hole going through the box, right? So this is how we would go about drawing the hole inside of the cube that is there. So there you have it. We've done 10 boxes, 10 cubes on one sheet of paper, and if you notice, these cubes look like as if they are three-dimensional, because you can see three different dimensions of each of these cubes, or most of them for that matter. So if you notice, you got one horizontal line, which is the width. We have the vertical line, which will be the height, and then we have the diagonal line going towards the vanishing point, which would be our depth. So we have our width, our height, our length, and then we have the depth. All right, and this is how we go about drawing one-point perspective, drawing cubes in one-point perspective. In our next video, we will look at drawing a more complex and a more detailed image in one-point perspective.